We've got a world title showdown. This is Carissa getting things started early. A huge layback snap.
Wow.
And that is a scary preview for Courtney Conalog. Straight into the barrel.
Oh.
And she has picked off a gem. Silvana stylish, grab rail carve. Surfer and white, Coco Ho finds some cover on the inside, still gunning. Oh.
Wow.
Carissa Moore looked unstoppable. Good morning, it is November 10th, day 10 of the event window here at the Target Maui Pro, the final stop on the Samsung Galaxy Women's Championship Tour, and we're coming off the back of one of the best days of competition that we've had all year on the schedule. Ronnie Blakey, you're watching Dawn Patrol, and we have a huge show for you. As I mentioned before, a huge day of competition yesterday and plenty of highlights to check out, including the biggest moments from yesterday. We're also going to get a world title update, and Joe Topel and Martin Potter are going to run through some of the excellent scores that were logged yesterday. But right now, let's say good morning to Rosie Hodge. How are you, Rosie?
Good morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Stroops.
Good morning.
And Strider Wasilewski, great to have you on the show. And we mentioned it, some big moments yesterday, some huge performances, but what was the standout for you, Strider?
I think when I saw Malia Manuel, she really just had a moment where she started out with that beautiful, clean frontside swoop in the bowl, and then she just kind of turned the corner and came up and just went vertical into a closeout section right over the reef. And I just saw the little animal in her come out, She just into the bowl. That was her sweep right there. Beautiful, perfectly timed carve, but then bing, right into the lip from the water. She free fell into the bowl, and you could just see the reef. She was looking at when she came down. And those moments right there are like, they're just so telling as to seeing, what's inside of her. And she wants it that bad, where she's just slamming it right over the most critical section and brings it down. Timing, it was just really well served.
I think it's fair to say that you had the best seat in the house for all of yesterday's action, but Rosie, we had a pretty good vantage point from up on the cliff as well, and Nikki Van Dyke was the surfer you highlighted as the big performer.
Well, you just look at the barrel rides that we had on offer yesterday. Nikki Van Dyke, just so much style and finesse, just negotiating that barrel, and it doesn't just stop there. Comes out with this big floating maneuver. She took out, Courtney Conalog, who's in the hunt for a world title. So massive performances from the ladies, and it was so exciting to see them, the way they threaded those two rides.
I love the steeziness of Nikki's takeoff on that wave. Just took a moment to kind of stand tall and then threaded that barrel beautifully.
She saw the present.
She sure did. It
She
was right there
reached
under
in,
the
grabbed
tree.
it.
It's almost Christmas time, and well, that metaphor is starting to really make sense now.
Yeah.
After a long year. But let's get the call and find out if we're going to get competition back underway with some amazing round 4 heats set. We'll check in with Chelsea Cannell. Good morning.
Good morning, Ronnie. I am here with our Deputy Commissioner, Jessie Miley-Dyer. And Jessie, yesterday you mentioned that the swell might stick around a little bit through this morning, but looking at the ocean, it looks like it took a vacation. So are we going to be on or off, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it is really, really slow this morning. Probably dropped a lot more than I expected that it would. Last night, we checked all the buoys and it was definitely trending down. So we're going to be off for today. We're still looking at really good forecasts. I'm crossing fingers that Wednesday looks, it's going to come and we're going to have epic conditions to finish and crown a world champion.
Suggestions on lay day activities? You spent a lot of time here in Maui.
Well, we've been here I have had a few lay days already, so I think we've almost done everything that can be possibly done here, but there's always another spot to snorkel and there's always, another hill to climb, so I think there's something we can do.
All right, we'll get up to it. Ronnie, send your ideas our way. You are the adventurer of the group.
Well, Jessie earned the nickname the panel beater last year because on the golf course she actually sprayed a few out into the car park and took down some brake lights.
But you had to bring that up.
So we'll keep her off the golf course,
Yeah.
but we might have a crack at it ourselves. But Strider, you've spent so many winters in Hawaii. You're always keeping a close eye on the forecast. What can we look forward to for the window?
Well, we've got a lot of activity. Obviously, the window sets in this time frame because of it, and you can see that that small swell is backing off today and peels back through Monday. But out the back there, you see that purple blob. That's a lot of swell. There's a lot of activity up there. If that, as it moves across the top of us, it will gain momentum, and it has been gaining momentum. So that is looking better and better. Obviously, through the day today, we're going to see a decrease in swell, but there's still waves to be had around. And then as you see it pick back up through Wednesday, and that is what we're hoping for. We're really looking at that swell. It looks like a great, solid. As it builds, we're going to see more and more energy out of it, and when that happens, we basically could see something as big, that thing could develop into a jaws swell if we're, overall lucky. Never know. And then that would mean just amazing waves here. So a lot can happen in 72 hours.
Bring it on. Well, looking forward to getting into some of the highlight moments from yesterday. After the break, we'll update you on the world title race, which is unfolding here in Maui. Great to have your company for Dawn Patrol, Ronnie with Rosie and Strider. And we're about to have a look at our world title contenders. We had to wait 9 days to finally get that first round of the Target Maui Pro underway. And heats 3 and 4 really lived up to expectations, Rosie, with both surfers. Carissa first and then Courtney just putting huge scores on the board on their very first rides.
We've been pumping up this world title race for so many days now, for so many weeks. As soon as France finished, we knew that we were going to come into this one, come in hot. And, I was just not disappointed at all. As soon as Carissa got her feet on her board, she just went to town. And it just looks like that blade underneath her feet is just magical.
Yeah, the relationship between, surfer, shaper, it just builds over time. And making boards for Carissa must be super fun because there's so much inside of that. Silvana had a nice little tube right there, but she couldn't get enough. She just wanted more. Back to Carissa and the shaping and the relationship and having those surfboards build up over time. You can just, it's like you feel like they're just glued to your feet at one point. After time, there's not much even of a conversation. Matt's been watching her surf for so long and watches every heat. He watched this whole thing already and probably is already thinking about surfboards to make again.
Well, probably thinking about next year, but we went from watching Carissa just destroy that first heat, putting together a heat score total of 16.73, to seeing Courtney Conalog in the lineup. Also, this is the round 3 heat, for Carissa. And it was Malia Manuel applying some pressure early on, but Carissa, like the true champion she is, responded with a couple of big scores of her own.
Yeah, I mean, Carissa really had to step it up in this one. Malia Manuel went to town, like you mentioned, and you see those rides from Malia and what she's capable of, and you just wonder, you know, if she puts that aggression into every single heat that she has, every wave, she could come out with a Maui Pro title. And you look at Carissa, she could upset her run to the world title.
Strategy-wise, though, Carissa just so on point at the moment, Strider.
Yeah, you know, she knew she needed to back it up. And this wave that she got on the inside, this turn she does right there where she sweeps, I mean, that power using the rail, the fin, the whole board, utilizing body, everything, and it just encompassed an amazing, that turn, honestly, was the best turn of the day, I think.
Beautiful hack, and just so smart to quickly back herself up in that clash. And it was a huge heat for Carissa. She now moves directly through to the quarterfinals, and that means that Courtney's going to have to make the final to have a chance at a surf-off or a world title in 2015. So the importance of that win for Carissa was huge.
Exactly, and just you talk about pressure situations, Malia kind of had that heat. She had 2 great waves, and Carissa to fight back like that just shows her as a championship surfer.
And then Courtney, I love this. After Carissa's first round effort, she had to come out there and respond. And Keely Andrew, well, she played the role of potential spoiler in this heat, getting a great start, a 7.5 for this wave. But Courtney, with all the expectation and the spotlight just fixed upon her, paddled into a gem wave and got herself so barreled.
Yeah, we were all wondering how she was going to, you know, come back into this after we saw Carissa, and then boom, you know, perfect barrel, comes out, sweeps the cuddy, and it looking really strong and just solid. She so wants it, you know, you can just see it in her surfing, and it was just really strong. I think a little out of pace. I think she needs to slow down a bit, and I think that's why right now Carissa's kind of looking a lot better as her pace is a little bit more with the wave. But, you know, Courtney, obviously, she's ready for one more heat. She loves it. I mean, she just loves to get out there and crack away at it, and you can see the intent when she comes down the line. She just looks so psyched to just crack the lip.
I love it, and I love that power, and we spoke about it a little bit yesterday, Rosie. Just when comparing Courtney and Carissa, there is a real difference. Courtney a little bit more raw, but I think the big improvement in Courtney's performances of late has been just that smoother kind of surfing that she's been able to perform throughout the season. And in the third round, she did look sharp early on. She got a huge score for this one. There's some of that power that we spoke about, but she just couldn't find a really solid backup score.
That's it. I mean, she really came up against some worthy opponents. Nikki Van Dyke has been looking beautiful on these long lines out here at the Honolulu Bay, and you just think about Courtney having to fire back after Carissa moves directly into the quarterfinals with that big matchup against Malia Manuel. And, you know, that's going to come into her mind game as she's surfing out there. But it was Nikki. I mean, this beautiful ride, this wave was such a gift, a gem, and Nikki just rode it to perfection in my eyes.
Amazing to see that we had the top 12 progressing through to the third round. Courtney, she's going to have to fight her way through round 4.
All I could do is go out there and surf my best, and I feel like I've been doing that. You know, the ocean went flat for, gosh, so long, and I had to make a decision with their priority. Hey, do I back up my score, or do I sit out there? Either way, Nikki would have got those waves, and I can't control that. All I can control is how I'm surfing the waves, and, you know, I'm still feeling good. I'm not going to let that take me down. I'll just use it as fuel for the fire, and it's one extra heat at the bay, and, you know, Carissa, she made it through, but, you know, I'm just focusing on my own game right now, and I think that's what's going to help. You know, I wouldn't take back any of the things I did in that heat. You know, I back myself all the way, and, you know, I learned from it. But, yeah, you know, it's just the way the cookie crumbled in this heat, but I'm excited to have to surf another round.
Courtney's still very positive, and I agree with her. I don't think she made any crucial errors in that heat. She did take an insider, but she was in third priority. It kind of put her out of position for the sets, but in third priority in a 2-wave set, she wouldn't have got a wave anyway, so she gave herself the best opportunity to win through that clash. But there's the scenarios on screen, and Rosie, we keep harping on about it, but there's that star for if Carissa finishes up in the quarterfinals. If Courtney gets a second, we'll see a surf-off.
Well, I'd love to see that surf-off happen, and you'd have to say, you know, if Courtney does make that final and she wins this event, she'd be riding a lot of that momentum. But Carissa has to get knocked out, you know, in the quarterfinals, so that next heat is crucial for her. But I love Courtney's approach, just that positivity, not wasting energy on worrying about, you know, her other competitors.
Yeah, it's just amping.
Yeah, she's pumped just to surf another heat out here. She gets the bonus heat in her eyes, really. I mean, obviously she'd love to skip up through that next round, but for her, she's going to have to deal with Coco Ho. We saw Coco out there looking really good, and I actually picked Coco as a spoiler in this thing when we started out the event. She's so good. She has great vertical game, and she's got a tube knowledge from her pops, so that's going to be a great heat for her.
It is, and another good thing to keep in mind that might work in Courtney's favour. In each of the 3 events that she's won this year, she has had to surf her way through this 4th round, so she kind of relishes that extra work. And you think about a surfer on the men's side who always seems to run those marathons to event wins, Mick Fanning. It could work in her favour, getting that extra heat, Rosie.
Yeah, she's comfortable in that round 4. I mean, she has advanced through that round every time, like you mentioned, and gone on for a win. So that might be, you know, the point of difference, where she actually finds a bit of that good mojo and takes it all the way.
It's going to be a tough road, though, Strider, because the winner of that heat is going to have to surf against Nikki Van Dyke, who's really one of the form surfers coming into the back half of the season.
And who's due to break out of the quarterfinals, right? She's had so many of them. But with Courtney, she's such a fighter. She's got that in her blood, and she loves to come from behind and then just take it. So we've seen it. We know she's got it, and we'll see if she can do it again.
Well, stay with us, because after the break, a couple of legends, Joe and Potts, are going to take us through the excellent waves ridden during this event so far.
Aloha kakahiaka and good morning to you. Welcome to the Target Maui Pro, the 10th stop of the Samsung Galaxy Championship Tour. You can see Honolulu Bay's looking a little bit quiet this morning, and the contest has been called off. Joe Turpel alongside one of my favorite surfers of all time, Martin Potter.
Well, thanks, Joe.
Yeah, good morning, Potts. So yesterday was a huge day of competition.
Yep.
We made some heavy eliminations and maybe even potentially said goodbye to a couple of legends of the sport. Silvana Lima out in round 2,
Yep.
along with Dimity Stoyle as well.
You know, amongst all those emotions of the world title race, you know, you got to feel for those 2 competitors. Both surfed insane. I mean, we've enjoyed watching them all year. I know we're going to see Dimity back and probably Silvana as well. So, you know, it's goodbye but not farewell. I reckon they're going to go back, requalify, and we'll see them again.
Well, we had some outstanding highlighted waves from yesterday as we think about the daily top 5 from yesterday's action. Starting at number 5 on the charts, last year's Breakthrough Performer of the Year, Joanne DeFay from Reunion Island. Anytime she has a wave with power, she matches it with huge turns.
Yeah, Joanne, this was a wave underneath priority. One of the ladies was too far out. She was in that perfect spot, and didn't she tag it? I mean, that last maneuver right there, Joanne DeFay's just grew, you know, she's growing beautifully into the World Tour and becoming more and more relevant.
Coming in number 4, an 8.93 from Tyler Wright, got this one in round 2. A huge combined heat total to take out Keely Andrew.
You know, Tyler's surfing incredibly well. This wave suits her style. Second last year. I mean, all she's got to do is catch the waves, and she's going to produce good surfing like that. So Tyler on fire.
Also coming in on the top 5, Hawaii's Coco Ho, locked into a beauty at Honolulu Bay, got barreled, a 9-point ride. She wasn't able to back this one up, so she'll have to deal with round 4.
You know, that's unfortunate for Coco. I mean, it was pretty slow yesterday. Obviously, Mike lost that one. He was wishing he was in that barrel himself, but Coco, she's so good inside the tube.
Number 2 on the charts, Silvana Lima has such amazing career and a connection with this wave at Honolulu Bay. 9.10, started with a barrel and then some serious carving work.
You know, Silvana's surfing has just been amazing, you know, over the years, but, you know, what she lacks is backing those big scores up. A 9.10, she didn't manage to back that up. Had she done that, all she needed was something in that 7-point range. Would have been a heat win for her.
And our breakthrough performer from yesterday, Alessa Quizon, absolutely lit up this ride, coming in at a 9.2, the high single score of the day, and she's into the quarterfinals, her second quarterfinal berth of the season.
Alessa Quizon for me was a standout yesterday, Joe. She was on the good waves. Her timing was perfect. Her choice of maneuvers in the right place at the right time was amazing. If she can keep that going, she's going to be tough to beat.
Well, you can see Alessa Quizon looking nice and loose and free from the pressure of requalification. She knows she'll be on tour next season.
Yep.
She's into the quarterfinals now, and she's on the top end of the draw. How do you like her spoiler chances in this world title race?
Well, like I said, I mean, you know, Honolulu Bay decides, you know, you've got to be on the right waves. If you're on the right waves, you know, picking those maneuvers, picking the right time to do them, everything comes to, you know, into play. It just comes down to being there at the right time, and I think she did that yesterday. If she can continue to do that, she's going to be tough to beat.
So some great matchups to look forward to when the Target Maui Pro continues with round 4. We'll dive into those heavy matchups coming up next here on Dawn Patrol.
Honolulu Bay really puts the dream to the dream tour. Being from Hawaii, it's really special just to island up over here, and just the feeling and the people around you, it's different here, and I love to be back here. You have the point, and then you have the middle of the cave where the Conus usually runs, and then you have keiki bowls. This place really likes the Northwest Swell, and that's where the cave works and has the barrel and the tower. It's just an amazing wave to experience, and to see huge sets rolling through and a barrel just coming from the cave all the way into keiki bowls is just an amazing sight.
Malia Manuel, one of the contenders in this event, giving us her take on Honolulu Bay, and she'll be surfing in one of those tough round 4 heats, and it's a heavily stacked round really. When you look at the first heat, Lakey Peterson up against the rookie Tatiana Weston Webb, that is a fantastic clash, and for me these two surfers could go all the way in this contest.
Well, I mean, they've had a clash before this year in Fiji. I mean, Tatiana touted as one of our favorites, and Lakey just took that one out. So they've got a little bit of history together, and I think they'll be quite competitive in this round 4 heat.
Lakey's had some clutch performances in this event already, Strider. We saw her really just dodge a bullet in the second round against Dax McGill with a high-scoring ride in the dying stages.
Yeah, she had what she needed. You know, she was so fast and she looked so good and she was so confident at the end of that. But you know, she did. That's going to be a tough heat for her. I mean, the backside surfing of Tati is really good.
It's going to be a good matchup. But Heat 2 is a showstopper, and the winner of this one is going to surf against Carissa Moore in the quarterfinals. So this is a real spoiler alert heat, this one. Malia, she's looked really sharp, just couldn't find a backup in her round 3 effort.
Well, both of these ladies were standouts for me yesterday, so to see them in round 4, and especially coming up against each other, you know, that's two forces that are so great out here. So that's something that I'm really going to look forward to. I think, you know, excellent scoring rides all the way.
Have another look at Heat 3 of round 4. Courtney, this is the biggest heat of her life up until this point. She needs to progress through. She wants to keep on pace with Carissa Moore. She's got a tough ask up against Coco, who's been the barrel riding queen so far in this event.
She does. She's got her pops out there giving her the mana, and you know what? She really does understand the wave well. But Courtney's going to be, you know, pedal to the metal as usual. So, you know, it's going to be a good battle.
And what about this? The battle of best friends in the last heat of the round. The winner of this one will take on Sally Fitzgibbons, and so many heats these guys have surfed against one another this year.
Exactly. I mean, Bianca and Joanne, they just seem to meet up all the time, best friends, staying together on the island. So I love to see that. You know, you keep it friendly on land, but as soon as they hit the water, it's kind of all bets off, the gloves are off, and those girls are going to be going at each other.
Yeah.
There are the star performers from yesterday progressing directly through to the quarterfinals. Alessa Couzon, Carissa Moore, Nikki Van Dyke and Sally Fitzgibbons, and things are just shaping up beautifully for a huge finish in the last event of the year. Just reflecting on this season, Rosie, what's the highlight moment for you this year?
Wowza, throw me just that. You think about this whole thing, and just to condense it in a couple moments, it's really hard for me. You know, the Goldie was amazing. Fiji, Sally winning in Fiji was incredible, but I'm so excited to see the showdown take place.
I think the big moment's coming here in Maui, Strata.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be the climax of the whole thing, and I can't wait to see it. It's actually so good to see it all get to the last event and it still be on for the title.
We're off for today, and the Vans World Cup is also on hold and will be potentially running tomorrow. Plenty to do on worldsurfleague.com. Download the app and check out some of the great features there. We'll see you tomorrow on Dawn Patrol.